Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of Susan Marie Powell, who disappeared on December 6th in 2009. On that day she had gone and taken her two young sons, Charles and Braden, to church, and afterwards a neighbor visited the house and they ended up leaving around 5 p.m. And this was the last time anybody from outside the family ever saw Susan. And people didn't really get concerned until the next day, December 7th, which was a Monday, when the children were not dropped off at daycare as was expected, and the mother-in-law and sister-in-law were contacted about this, and they started to try and contact Susan and Joshua, which they were not able to do. Then they called the police, and the police came over for a welfare check, and they found no response at the house. So they ended up entering the house, suspecting that maybe the family was a victim of carbon monoxide poisoning. But they found nobody inside except for two box fans blowing at a wet spot on the couch. Neither Susan nor Joshua showed up at work, and neither had given a reason for not being there. Susan's purse, wallet, and identification were found inside the house, and her phone was later recovered from the family's van, which Joshua had been using. Now, later, December 7th, Joshua returned home with the two boys and was immediately taken to the police station for questioning. He claimed he had left Susan asleep at home and left the house at midnight to take his boys camping on the Pony Express Trail in western Utah. Police went to check out that area on December 10th, but found no evidence of a campsite that Joshua described. And of course, they also found suspicious that Joshua would take young boys out camping in blizzard conditions after midnight when they were scheduled to go to daycare just that day. Joshua, of course, like I said, had not told his boss that he was not going to be there that day, and he explained that as, "I thought it was Sunday rather than Monday." Now, December 9th, the police did an investigation at the house and they found traces of Susan's blood on the floor. Also, life insurance policies for Susan, totaling $1.5 million, and a handwritten letter from Susan expressing fear for her life. DNA test results released matched one blood sample with Susan, and another sample was determined to have come from an unknown male contributor, in quotes. Police interviewed the couple's elder son, Charlie, who confirmed that the camping trip Joshua described took place. However, unlike his father, he stated that Susan had gone with them and did not return. Weeks after her disappearance, a teacher reported Charlie had claimed that his mother was dead. Furthermore, Susan's parents, Chuck, Jody, and Cox, claimed that while at daycare several months after the disappearance, Braden drew a picture of a van with 3 people in it and told carers Mommy was in the trunk. So in August 2012, the police released documents showing that Joshua had taken actions that were regarded as highly suspicious following Susan's disappearance, such as liquidating his wife's retirement accounts, canceling her regularly scheduled chiropractic sessions, and withdrawing his children from daycare. He'd also previously spoken to coworkers about how to hide a body in an abandoned mine shaft in the western Utah desert. Now, a couple of people actually went there from a YouTube channel called Heavy D Sparks in February of 2022. And they posted 4 videos filmed over 11 days documenting their excavation of a 225-foot deep mine shaft. And his location was in the vicinity of the area her husband had claimed to have gone camping the night his wife disappeared. Now, at that particular mine shaft, the head frame had been torched and destroyed, causing it to fall into the vertical shaft near the time of Susan's disappearance. The team excavated about 40,000 pounds of dirt and debris before finding bones of unknown origin and pieces of clothing. And upon having the remains analyzed by forensic scientists, they concluded that the bones were very unlikely to be human. There were also some pants recovered with the bones, and they tested positive for male DNA, and the family is trying to identify the man, is what it says here. Eventually, Joshua was not allowed to visit the children unsupervised. I think initially he had to go to a special location in order to have time with his children. And that later was turned into he could visit them at home, but then there had to be somebody there. A social worker had to be present. Then on February 5th of 2012, social worker Elizabeth Griffin Hall arrived with Charles and Braden at Joshua's house and was subsequently locked out of the house by Joshua, who locked the door behind him. Elizabeth called 911. And if you ever hear that 911 call, it's extremely frustrating to listen to because it seemed like the operator was mostly focused on trying to figure out why she wasn't inside the house and what type of visit this was, rather than getting help on scene. And shortly after her arrival and her calling 911, the house exploded, killing Joshua and his 2 sons inside. After a relatively brief investigation, officials confirmed that the explosion had been deliberately planned. The official cause of death for Joshua and the two boys was determined to be carbon monoxide poisoning, though the coroner also noted that both children had significant chopping injuries on the head and neck, and a hatchet was discovered near Joshua's body, and investigators believed he used the tool to attack the boys before being overwhelmed by smoke and fumes. So that's an extremely sad affair. And the fire investigation also found 2 5-gallon cans of gasoline on the premises, as well as evidence that gasoline had been spread throughout the house. So he was really planning on leaving absolutely no evidence behind. Now, I could be wrong, but I think this was directly after custody would be awarded over the 2 children to Susan's parents. Now, there is a lot to this case, and in the interest of time, I'm not going to dig into everything. The only other thing I'm going to mention is that about a year after this explosion occurred, Michael Powell, which is Joshua's brother, jumped off of a parking garage in Minneapolis in an attempt to end his own life. And police suspect that he may have been an accomplice in this whole thing. And I think Father Stephen was also implicated because evidence surfaced that he was actually obsessed with Susan. He had about 4,500 images of her taken without her knowledge, including close-ups of specific body parts, so that's also very unusual. So there's definitely something up with that family, you would think. Just a lot of strange things happening here, and of course a lot of tragedy as well. But I was asked to do a reading on this case, probably to figure out why they even did it in the first place, and maybe a little bit about what happened exactly on that December 6th and 7th night, because they left after midnight, so I imagine it was close to that time. And we're going to start off with the tarot deck, which is currently on the table, which is the Tarot Mucha. And for any further questions, moving on to the Wise Dog Tarot, which is this one. So as per usual, I'm just going to start shuffling the deck. As soon as I have a table full of cards, we're going to stop and take a look. So without much further ado, let's get started. Alright, let's take a look at what we've got here. We have the Moon, we have the Ace of Pentacles, and we have the 3 of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so these 3 cards, when I started shuffling the deck, I was asking myself why this happened, because I think most people will agree that it's pretty clear that Joshua and probably also his father and brother were involved in this. At least that's also law enforcement's idea. Seems very likely. So I mainly wanted to focus on why this even happened in the first place. And these 3 cards, we have the Moon here hiding something, and then we have a new financial initiative, and 3 people working together on something bad. With the 3 of Pentacles in reverse. So this seems like there was a plan for some type of financial initiative that the 3 of them worked on. And I do recall hearing something about life insurance. I don't know, maybe they were hard done by, like financially. I don't know anything about their financial situation, so maybe there was something about that, or they just kind of thought like, you know what, this could be an easy way to make some money, like that type of thing. I don't know. So anyways, so these 3 cards seem to be pointing in that direction with this lineup like that. We got some secrets, we got plans, we got people working against something, or at least in a negative fashion. So there is that right off the bat. Then we have a 2 of Wands, which is normally like planning a trip or some type of move, and that's either not going well or it is fake. And we have the 6 of Cups over here, remembering something from the past or some type of melancholy maybe. And we have here the Sun in reverse. Okay, Now, planning something that may not actually being planned combined with this melancholy card is a bit strange. Like maybe they had plans for this sundown event, shall we call it that, and the plans that they had were not quite what they were saying out loud, so to speak. And there is definitely a period here, I feel, of the plans being made and you know something bad's about to happen, but you're also kind of remembering the past. And maybe there was like a brief period where he was kind of like, in this case the he I think would be Joshua, who was kind of like having a brief revival of perhaps like things that they've gone through, just kind of remembering the good times maybe, or some type of almost a nagging voice saying, you know, we used to have such great times and why are we doing this now? Kind of like a little bit of regret slipping in there, but not enough to actually stop this. So let's put those back. On the end here we have a Queen of Wands who is very willful, so somebody is definitely pushing this along. It does not have to be a female, could be somebody who is male who just has this kind of energy. It's very willful, headstrong. As soon as they've set their mind to something, they will not stop until they get it. Also, this person is looking very thoughtful and like they're just singularly focused on something, which I imagine would be the person who is ultimately in control of this. I just noticed this pattern on my hand, by the way. It's from leaning on my shirt, so don't worry too much about that. That's just an aside. Anyway, so Three of Cups here. We're having some type of harmony. Maybe on the outside world, we're pretending everything is fine. And meanwhile, we don't have much of another choice here, or we're not interested in the choices that we have with this Four of Cups in reverse. So there is that as well. So we're having a party, but somebody's being very stubborn. Maybe people are pretending that everything is fine because whomever this is really in control of the situation. And this may not even have been Joshua, I don't know, but I feel like one of the three was particularly in the lead and they forced everybody into compliance. And the other two may not have felt like they had much of a choice in that regard. Not clear who this would be then, but maybe we'll get some more hints to that later. We have here the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, so somebody who is very practical, normally trying to balance things, but things are not going very well in that regard, I don't think. We have the Five of Swords. We have some internal strife, some struggles there. With words mostly and thoughts as well, so thoughts that are working against them. We have here the Page of Wands. All right, so somebody who is quick to act. So maybe there's somebody over here who feels like things are not going well financially for themselves, resources aren't spent well. This is causing for some arguments, but also some quick actions to try and patch things up. Like this person, this page, in any case, is very well-willing, probably has the right idea but not the right execution, that type of thing, and also is very quick, very fiery to behave, like act very quickly whenever something comes up, and it just kind of like does something to get things out of the way. You also see that by the volcano erupting in the background while he's standing there, just kind of think like as soon as a thought pops up, he's like, okay, that's what we're doing it now, like that type of thing. So no time to prepare, no time to think things through. As soon as something comes up that sounds like a somewhat reasonable action to take, we're doing it like that. Then we have this star over here, so somebody is drawing some attention, and we have the Knight of Swords. Okay, so somebody who's drawing attention over here, and somebody else, possibly, who is taking some quick actions as well, but mostly with words and thoughts. Like over here, like maybe somebody who is drawing a lot of attention is also very quick on their feet with their words, like maybe to avoid suspicion, also maybe to distract from things. This could be the same person whom is trying to draw attention away from whatever it is that is actually happening, and using lots of lies and things that they came up on the spot to redirect anything, any type of suspicion on whatever it is that they are actually doing. Could also be somebody whom is lying to themselves, like they may be seeing things and they're like, nah, that can't be it, that has to be something else, I'm probably overthinking things, maybe they wouldn't do that, like that type of thing. Lying to themselves in a hurry because there just is no other alternative. because just whatever it is that they may have suspected that could not possibly be true. And then I'm talking like maybe Susan had some inkling of an idea of what was going on over here, and just the most ridiculous thing that you could ever imagine a partner to do to you, you wouldn't accept that because that's just not possible. Although she did write that letter how she felt she was in danger, so maybe there was also that. This arguing over here may also have led to things moving faster with this Page of Wands here and this Knight of Swords on the end. Like they're just kind of focusing on her as a star, and they're just on the one hand doing things quickly, other hand lying to try and make up for whatever it is that they didn't think through very well. Let's go and see what else we can get. We're moving on to the Wise Dog Tarot. Okay, we have Seven of Swords in reverse. All right, so we're definitely lying a lot. And it's clear deceit at this point. It is hidden in the background, so it's clearly deceit as in we know now that they were definitely lying, but it's so manipulative that you may not have even really seen that. Let's see, there's even a circus in the background, but they may have been playing a whole bunch of games. Oops, sorry, the card just fell off screen. But they may have been playing such games that it may have seemed like they were doing a whole production thing, like a circus right there. High Priestess, she has some inkling, like I said over here already. Definitely some ideas that there's something going on. This is probably where the letter was written that she wrote to the people, because she has this High Priestess energy in her life. Like she's starting to see the lies, and she may not know exactly what's going on, but she has some idea. So I'm guessing we're getting close to the actual day where things happen. What else can we learn about this? Oh, there's a couple of cards sneaking out of this stack right there. All right, let's see what those are. We have the Empress in reverse. All right, so we're not really receiving any care, possibly also not giving as much care as they should. I'm thinking this is like an estrangement between the two things, cooling down considerably. We have some potentially fighting or avoiding fighting, because we have the Seven of Wands, which is like coming for a position, somebody challenging you type of thing. Maybe they're challenging themselves internally, or there's some type of struggle going on here. Maybe also trying to undo actions that have been taken. Like maybe she found something around the house that made her go, oh, if they were going to do something to me, then this would definitely get involved, and then like remove that object from the house, and that kind of like thwarts their plans possibly, and to sending back to the drawing board, that type of thing. Like she may be trying to stay one step ahead. We have the Knight of Cups in reverse, somebody who only really focuses on their own emotions, their own wants and needs. I feel like this is Joshua right here, feeling very bad for themselves. Like they're the ones who are suffering the most, that type of feeling self-pity energy right there. Ace of Swords. All right, so we are saying some new things. We have a new idea, possibly, like definitely a new idea came to mind, and now we're working on that very hard. So this new idea inspired the three of them to go down a different path. Literally, they're going over this wall here, and they're just going to continue this way. Like, oh yeah, no, that's a great idea. Like she may have found some way to undo their initial plan like that, and then they were like, oh my god, that's the worst thing ever. Wait, we have this other option, and they're like, yes, let's do that, like real quick, going down that new rabbit hole. All right, Moon on its side, so maybe they thought that they were well hidden with their plans, but she did have some more things to be suspicious about, so it's kind of half hidden. We have here the King of Swords in reverse, so we're telling a lot of lies actually, and the sword, the way it's pointed at that heart that looks kind of like a flower, is very concerning. Like they're basically not caring anymore, I don't think, what type of lies they tell her. It's just kind of like, I'm gonna say whatever I need to say in order for us to get to where we need to go, that type of thing. So there's that happening. Now, let's see what else we've got. We've got this card that's flipped. I think we need it this way. We have a Queen of Swords. All right, so we have the King of Swords over here trying to confuse things, and then we have another Queen of Swords over here, which I think is Susan trying to cut down their lies, quite literally cutting down everything in smaller pieces in order to figure out exactly what the truth is. So I'm guessing at this point she is super onto them, very analytical, and is able to see through their deception right there. Nine of Cups. All right, so now we have potentially a period where like, oh yeah, you got us, like that type of thing, and maybe they're trying to smooth things over here with this Nine of Cups, which usually like a feel-good energy, kind of relaxing maybe in a certain way. They may have been trying to make her feel comfortable, like, oh no, it's fine, we won't do any of that, I'm sorry that we ever considered such things, like that type of stuff. Okay, there's a card that flipped. Who was that? Here we go. That is the King of Wands in reverse. Alright, so after a quick, brief period of trying to smooth things over, quite literally, with the Nine of Cups, we have a very quick and negative action. So this may be the night itself. It is quite dark in the background. At least it's dusk in the background. And like I said, the Wands, they're very fiery. We saw that with the Page of Wands already. There is again another volcano in the background, as you can see behind, right by his staff, right there by the hand. There is another volcano. So this is basically the matured version of the Page that we saw earlier that was quickly doing things to try and get things done in the background without, I don't know, I guess causing too much suspicion. But at this point, the king is just stepping up to his role and doing whatever it is that he feels is necessary. And I'm guessing this is the night itself where the deed probably happened that ended her life. So I'm guessing this is a confrontation. Like, initially they're trying to keep things hidden, and they're not really very good at it because she's seeing it through. We have the King of Swords here trying to lie through their teeth to try and get things sorted out. It's not working because she sees everything. And then we have a brief moment of, oh, you're fine, we're not going to do anything. And they're like, okay, never mind, we actually are going to continue. We're going to do everything right now. Like, whatever plans we may have had may have to be thrown out the window. But we're going to go ahead and do something, because now the jig is up and it's go time. So we have the Fool in reverse. We are not letting anything distract us. We are not letting the universe do whatever. We're keeping everything in control. We have the King of Cups, somebody who is very emotional. May also be very manipulative, but it's upright. So maybe they are just kind of like trying to do right by somebody, potentially just themselves, but there is also quite an explosion of water behind them, so it could also just be a very passionate moment where everything that they may have been keeping locked inside is now exploding out there for everybody to see. And Eight of Swords, so we are keeping ourselves in a certain mind trap. I'm guessing this is Joshua and the perpetrators just kind of trapping themselves and convincing themselves that this is the way that things need to be. There are no other alternatives. And then we have a complete loss of harmony here. And I feel like this is also involving the kids here. Like the harmony that there once was in a household, if there was any, is now completely broken. And they may now also be aware of that, even though their understanding is probably limited. We have somebody here pretending to be a hero. Maybe they are telling all sorts of stories. Maybe that they're talking to the kids about how they're going to go on an adventure. Everything's going to be fine. Just trying to smooth things over with them as well. And then we have a laying low here with the Four of Swords. So we are taking a step back. This may be them attempting to hide, trying not to become in contact with anybody. I feel like this may be Joshua over here with the kids, and this may be the energy of his accomplices trying to stay out of any type of lights, like anybody that may have some idea of what's going on with them. They're already either on board with it or they're not supposed to know what's going on. So these people are trying to stay out of sight so that nobody will suspect a thing. So I'm feeling that. Oh, there we go. Oh, here we go. I was about to say they work quite hard on these things. I'm feeling like even though the plan that they had initially settled on may not have been what they ended up doing, they had enough prep work that they were able to do things in a somewhat efficient way regardless, even though the things that they were working on are quite evil over here with this 8 of Pentacles in reverse. So whatever it is that they were working hard on, they're probably still working hard on. And this could also be working on an alibi or something like that, like telling each other what to say in case somebody asks, that type of thing. Now, the whole Powell family is gone, including the brother. The brother is also gone, so the brother-in-law, so to speak. The father is still out there, I believe. Mother definitely still out there. Are we ever going to see an official explanation for this whole thing come from somebody in the know? Let's see if we can get any cards about the future of this case. You're going to learn anything new. We have here death in reverse. Okay, so somebody's unable to let something go, which is maybe somebody who knows exactly what happened and they cannot turn over the new page. They may still be stuck in that mindset. Maybe they are just loyal potentially to their narrative, loyal to somebody who's involved. I'm feeling this may also be the mother, somebody who may not be a direct accomplice, but sort of an accomplice. Oh, that one's falling. Everything was falling over here because they now learned the truth and they do not want, I guess, more trouble or something. Somebody's unable to let something go. I'm going to put this one underneath here. All right, we have the 9 of Swords in a reverse. So they are not able to let something go, but also they still dream about it. So this is somebody I feel whom is directly connected to either Joshua or some perpetrator, or maybe the perpetrator themselves. And they are having a lot of anxiety about that, unable to let it go. Like I said, we have the 9 of Wands. They are getting tired of this burden, so like they can't let it go. They don't want to start a new chapter. Maybe they are unable to start a new chapter. And then we have this sword over here, 9 of Swords in reverse. So maybe something that they regularly dream about, and they have this burden that they're still carrying with this 9 of Wands. They just cannot let it go. They are also in a really bad shape, but maybe this person has been robbed of whatever resources they would have expected to have by now, so they are not doing well in that regard either. And they are also thinking about the past a lot here with this 6 of Cups. So somebody whom is pretty dejected and also mentally and emotionally affected. They're very tired. So this is starting to look like maybe somebody's going to start talking when the stress is too much and they can't take anymore. Let's see if we can get any cards about that. Are we going to see somebody start to talk? Oops. We're having an argument with somebody with this 5 of Swords over here. Somebody may be trying to, I guess, pet them, feeling rejected over there in the background as well, and that will lead to some type of argument, not literally trying to pet them, but like maybe trying, as in like when you're petting a dog, you're also trying to create a bond. So maybe this dog, this person, is being forced into a certain bond and they're just kind of like rejecting it, like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I know that that is the story, but I'm just not feeling it. I can't do this anymore, like that type of thing. And we have here the Hierophant in the side. The Hierophant in the side is somebody who has some type of sway over them, whom is faltering. Hierophant can be somebody who has a certain position. It could be somebody in a church position, could be somebody who has another type of leadership role within a certain type of community where people all tend to band together over some communal beliefs. So maybe they're trying to talk them into continuing to stay silent and they're just on the fence right now. Are they ever going to start talking? And are we going to learn the actual truth, or at least have more inputs. Okay, there's a lot of cards there. Quite a stack, so I'm guessing these are going to be the final cards. Let's see, we have 8 of Cups, unable to walk away from something, but maybe they really do want to walk away from something. The heavy burden that they've been carrying is starting to get to be too much for their emotions, and they're kind of looking down the river at the sun like, I could be on the other side. I could be done with this nonsense, but I can't move because the Chariot is in reverse. So there's something that's locking them in place, making it so that they cannot talk about this. Like maybe they have, yeah, here we go. They have some type of tie to it themselves, and if they were to reveal the truth, they themselves would also be implicated. The devil is usually some type of addiction. It could also be something that they cannot let go, that they know is bad for them. Something has a hold over them, and they're just kind of like letting it continue to have a hold over them until they can no longer. And then we have no more choices as well. Maybe they currently feel like they have no choice here with this 4 of Cups in reverse. There are no options for them, no options that feel good, because it is, of course, a Cups suit. Page of Swords in reverse. Maybe they're lying to themselves as well, but the Page is somebody who's not very experienced, so maybe their lies are starting to wear them down as well. They cannot find any sort of happiness while here, and we have the Emperor as our final card. All right, so this may be somebody who has a fatherly role, somebody who should have had a fatherly role in any case, and who is deeply weighed down by all of this. I feel like it's only a matter of time before all of this weight, emotional, physical, mental, is going to weigh them down, that they can't do any more staying silent. And at that point, we may learn more about this case. I feel like this is going to take a while yet. Like, I'm thinking this person has so much stuff going on within their own life that they do not want to reveal it right now, because it would mean the end of, I don't know, I'm guessing people feeling like they're a good person. People might start to look down on them in ways that they do not want. Like, they feel tied down in that sense. So I'm thinking this is more of a deathbed confession when it doesn't matter anymore anyway, and they don't want to carry this into whatever afterlife that they do believe in. At least they probably feel like they will have to deal with some type of consequences, but more like in a way, if you haven't said it, and if you're the only person who knows it, I think that there is some belief in the back of your mind that it won't count somehow. I don't know. So I'm guessing this is one of those things where their earthly concerns outweigh whatever relief they think they'll have in the afterlife if they do confess before the time comes. But I'm guessing we're going to have to wait until that moment arrives. So a lot of mess and confusion, a lot of lying at the start, and then they get found out, and then they're like, okay, it's go time because we don't have a choice right now. We can't go back because we have been found out by this Queen of Swords. That's when all the actual plans are carried out, and then there is a lot of burden being carried, I'm guessing, by 1, maybe 2 people, probably just the one, who may eventually say something, but I don't think the time is there yet. Even though they are being worn down more and more every day, that's what these last cards seem to be pointing towards, particularly the Hierophant on its side and the Emperor. Those two strike me as somebody who feels like they should have had this immaculate Emperor role, to be a role model to people, and there are just too many things in their background that make that a lie, and that is really weighing on their conscience. So that is what I'm seeing for the Susan Powell case. I hope you found that interesting. Make sure to leave a like and a comment. That really helps the channel along. If you want to subscribe, that's even better. We're trying to get to our next milestone, which is 1,500. If you have a case that you'd like to submit, there is an anonymous Google form link in the description below the video, so you can go ahead and put your case in there. It gets randomized, so it's not like if you submit a case today and then another one next week, that it'll also be done in that order. I tend to randomize them, so don't worry if you haven't seen your case yet. In any case, thanks for watching. Hope to see you in another video, and bye bye for now.